One of the things that's also growing is the federal debt. It's growing at a slower rate than it was last year, and that was a slower rate than it did the year before. And it's been growing at certainly a slower rate than it was during the explosive rates of growth during the George W. Bush administration. Although a lot of in fact, virtually all of the debt that is being added on this year and last year and the year before was the result of George W. Bush putting 2 wars and Medicare Part D and a giant tax cut for millionaires and billionaires on the national credit card without making any provisions to pay for them. You know, the Republicans are screaming and yelling, oh, if you are going to increase Medicare benefits by even $1, then you've got to cut $1 out of food stamps. In other words, you have to pay for, any decrease in expenditures, or any increase in expenditures rather has to be a decrease in taxes, and vice versa. But Bush never did any of that. He just stuck it on the credit card. Now the bill's coming due. And the president today in his news conference did an absolutely brilliant job of framing this. And after I share a couple of these clips with you, I want to get into what are the possible ways that this could play out. Because we could be looking at the beginning of the great crash of 2013, or we could be looking at the end of the Republican Party, at least the Tea Party faction of it in 2013. Or we could be looking at the president caving in at the last minute. And frankly, I don't know how this is going to play out, because he is holding a tough line, and he's got his framing right on this, the picture on this. Clip number 0, Shano. Here is the president at his press conference this morning.
Raising the debt ceiling does not authorize us to spend more. All it does is say that America will pay its bills. And we are not a deadbeat nation. And the consequences of us not paying our bill, as I outlined in my opening statement, would be disastrous.
Yeah, we are not a deadbeat nation. The consequences would be disastrous. This is the thing. Last time this happened, the president hadn't gotten out ahead of it and said, raising the debt ceiling has got nothing to do with my ability to borrow or spend money, because the president has no ability to borrow or spend money. That ability is reserved to Congress, specifically to the House of Representatives, in Article 1, Section 8 of the United States Constitution. So it's Eric Cantor and John Boehner who borrow the money and who spend the money. The president just has the job of writing the checks, because the Treasury Department is the check-writing branch of government. Now, clearly, this is not just the problem of the Bush administration. George W. Bush added $5 trillion to the debt, pretty much doubled the national debt. Before that, his dad had added $2 trillion to the debt. Before that, Ronald Reagan added $3 trillion to the debt. Well, actually, he took an $800 billion debt and took it to a $3 trillion debt. More than tripled it. But the point is that this all came out of a 1976 strategy memo by Jude Wanniski, the two Santa Clauses theory, that said, when Democrats are in office, yell and scream about the debt and use it to force them to shoot Santa Claus. The Democratic Santa Claus, of course, being Social Security, Medicare, unemployment benefits, those kind of, giving money to people. And when Republicans are in office, run the debt up as hard as you can, as fast as you can, and do not blink when it comes to raising the debt ceiling. And there has never even been a debate about the debt ceiling when Republicans were, a serious debate, when Republicans were in the White House. Here, again, clip number 1, President Obama pointing this out.
So I want to be clear about this. The debt ceiling is not a question of authorizing more spending. Raising the debt ceiling does not authorize more spending. It simply allows the country to pay for spending that Congress has already committed to. These are bills that have already been racked up, and we need to pay them.
Yeah, that would be a good idea, to pay them. And we cannot afford another debt debate, as he says. This is a phony, made-up thing. Congress authorized these bills. People went out, Halliburton went out and spent billions of dollars of their own money in the expectation that the government would repay them for this sweetheart no-bid contracts that the Bush administration negotiated with them. Now Halliburton wants to get paid. And Congress is going to say, no, we're not going to pay them. And by the way, we're not going to pay teachers. And by the way, we're not going to pay cops. And by the way, we're not going to pay for the FAA. And we're not going to pay for, and the list goes on and on and on.
Congressional Republicans refuse to pay America's bills on time. Social Security checks and veterans benefits will be delayed. We might not be able to pay our troops or honor our contracts with small business owners. Food inspectors, air traffic controllers, specialists who track down loose nuclear materials wouldn't get their paychecks. Investors around the world will ask if the United States of America is in fact a safe bet. Markets could go haywire. Interest rates would spike for anybody who borrows money. Every homeowner with a mortgage, every student with a college loan, every small business owner who wants to grow and hire.
And here with clip number 4, the ultimate irony, as happened 2 years ago when the Republicans stalled the raising the debt ceiling, or at least took us to the possibility of it. Here's the president.
It would be a self-inflicted wound on the economy. It would slow down our growth, might tip us into recession, and ironically, would probably increase our deficit.
The Republicans would frankly love. I mean, this goes back to that meeting in the caucus room restaurant the night that President Obama was inaugurated the first time 4 years ago, next week, when they sat around these 14, 16 guys sat around the table with Frank Luntz and Newt Gingrich and said, okay, how do we make sure that the president goes down in flames, that he's a one-term president? Well, do everything he can to screw the economy. The economy's in bad shape. Let's make it worse, which they set out to do. They were not entirely successful. Maybe this time they will be. But he's ruled out the $1 trillion coin. He's ruled out the 14th Amendment. He's basically saying, he hasn't said he's ruled out issuing script, but basically he has said, this is Congress's problem.